You're listening to Play, Transform, Better. This is where we help business leaders navigate transformation, technology, and change at scale. In this Boardroom Transformation Talk, we examine why legacy business models are no match for AI, and what forward-looking boards need to do now. Now let's join your hosts.
In today's really fast-moving business world, when you think about your own organization's future, what's the biggest, most fundamental thing holding your legacy model back?
That's the core question, isn't it?
Is it just, needing the latest AI tools? Or is it something deeper, more structural?
Well, that's the crucial way we need to look at things now. We're seeing what you could almost call a major business transformation, right?
Yep.
And it's heavily driven by AI, by these rapid advances.
Right.
This isn't just small tweaks. It really feels like those big historical moments, periods of massive change that force us to rethink everything from the ground up.
Exactly. And the research we've looked at, it really hammers home that thriving now means more than just like papering over the cracks.
Absolutely.
So our focus in this deep dive is to explore why that deep foundational rethink of business models isn't just a good idea, but actually essential with AI emerging. We'll pull in some parallels from past tech revolutions too.
And, for our listeners, folks operating at the board level, you're probably right in the thick of this, grappling with how to position your company strategically, not just to survive, but really flourish in this AI era. So hopefully this deep dive can bring some clarity, maybe some strategic insights into that transformation imperative.
Okay, let's dig in then. The material really emphasizes that AI isn't just, another incremental upgrade. It's framed as a serious augmentation of what we can do. Different from tech shifts maybe we've seen before.
Yes, and what's really interesting there is the implication that this augmentation demands a much bigger response than just sort of slotting it in.
Right.
The sources are suggesting companies might need to be ready to, redefine their core purpose, rebuild foundational systems, maybe even revolutionize their whole strategy.
Wow. So it's holistic, not just a tech problem.
Precisely. It touches everything.
It really does feel like one of those hinge points in history.
Yeah.
And to get a handle on the scale of it, the material makes this quite insightful comparison to the Renaissance and the Enlightenment. Those weren't just about art and philosophy, were they? They fundamentally changed society, commerce included.
Absolutely. They're powerful examples of that kind of total transformation we're talking about. The key things back then were this widespread questioning of how things were always done.
Right, challenging conventions.
Exactly. And this explosion of creativity, of innovation everywhere, plus this underlying drive for, reason and finding things out, that propelled everything forward.
It's almost like that same spirit, questioning everything is needed inside businesses right now.
That's a great way to put it.
And one source specifically mentioned the printing press, how it sped up knowledge sharing. How does that link to AI's impact today?
Well, think about it. The printing press made information widely available fast. It changed how societies worked, how economies functioned. AI is doing something similar, but arguably even faster and broader.
Accelerating change across the board.
In ways we haven't really seen before, yeah. It's compressing those cycles.
That's a really strong analogy. And to drive this point home about tech shifts in business, the material looks back at previous waves. Let's start with the Industrial Revolution. What were the big lessons there for companies?
The Industrial Revolution. That was the huge shift from hands to machines, right? And the key takeaway, businesses that just clung to the old ways, the manual methods, they basically got left behind.
Became obsolete.
Pretty much. While the ones that jumped on mechanization early, they got huge advantages, set new standards.
Then fast forward, we get computers in the later 20th century, another massive transformation.
Oh, absolutely. Computers totally changed how companies handled data. Huge jumps in efficiency, productivity.
And again, a dividing line appeared.
Yes, definitely. Between those who digitized and those who hesitated, the ones who embraced it unlocked completely new ways of operating.
And then, maybe more in recent memory for many, the dot-com boom and e-business. That changed communication, customer interaction, everything.
Exactly. The internet forced companies to totally rethink how they dealt with customers, to build digital-first models.
Many had to essentially rebuild.
From the ground up, in many cases, just to stay in the game. And look who dominates now, often the early movers in that digital space.
So if you look at this pattern, the sources are saying there's this recurring theme. Big tech shifts, force businesses to fundamentally rethink and rebuild.
Yes.
And the age of AI isn't just continuing that trend, it's maybe even amplifying it.
That's a really crucial point to stress. The material is quite explicit. In the AI era, pretty much everything needs reevaluation. Processes, systems, people, culture, even management styles.
It's not just adding an AI layer on top.
No, not at all. It's about transforming the whole entity. A holistic approach is needed.
Which brings us right to this idea of modernization being imperative now. The argument is AI's potential is capped if you try to bolt it onto old systems, old ways of working. What are the main limitations there?
Well, the core issue is that AI really needs modern infrastructure and good data to work well. Old systems are often too slow, they can't handle the volume, the data isn't clean.
Create bottlenecks.
Exactly. It stops organizations from really getting the true power out of AI. It's like trying to run the latest super advanced software on a computer from the 90s. It just won't perform.
Right, okay. And the upsides of modernizing this context, they're presented as pretty substantial. The material lists a few key benefits. Maybe start with decision-making.
Sure. What's really powerful here is how AI lets you shift from just looking back at data to actually predicting what might happen, getting proactive insights.
Which legacy systems struggle with.
Oh, absolutely. They just don't have the real-time processing or the analytical horsepower for that kind of rapid, smart intelligence. So you end up reacting to market shifts instead of maybe anticipating them.
Okay, that makes sense. Then there's the impact on efficiency, productivity.
Yeah, AI automation can take over a lot of the repetitive manual stuff, reducing errors too.
Freeing people up.
Precisely. Freeing up your valuable people to focus on more strategic work, higher value stuff. You just can't make that shift if you're stuck with outdated ways of doing things.
And data itself becomes even more central with AI, doesn't it?
Oh, massively. AI eats data. So modernizing how you collect it, manage it, analyze it, use it, that becomes absolutely critical.
Otherwise, you're underusing a key asset.
Arguably your most valuable asset in the age of AI. Yeah. Companies that don't get their data strategy right are leaving huge value on the table.
Customer interaction, another big area for AI transformation.
Definitely. AI allows for personalization at a scale we couldn't dream of before. Anticipating needs, tailoring interactions, providing quick, smart responses.
Things customers increasingly expect.
Right. And that's key for satisfaction, for loyalty. Legacy systems just can't deliver that kind of nuanced interaction consistently.
And finally, modernization is framed as vital for just staying adaptable, for future-proofing.
Well, the pace of change isn't slowing down, is it? It feels like it's accelerating.
It's used that way.
So organizations need to build in flexibility, agility just to keep up. If you're locked into rigid, old systems and old mindsets, you'll find it incredibly hard to navigate what's coming next.
It's clear this need for change is huge. And, the sources mention that natural human tendency to resist big shifts. There are historical parallels there, too, right?
Oh, yes, a very common pattern. You had the Luddites during the Industrial Revolution, fearing what machines would do to their jobs. Understandable, but...
History remembers them as resisting progress.
Well, yes. And we saw similar skepticism, loads of doubt around computers when they first appeared, and even the internet in its early days.
But the big lesson from history seems to be that the change happens anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Regardless of the resistance.
Pretty much. And the ones who get on board early, who adapt, they tend to gain the big advantages, sometimes creating whole new industries.
So, while some resistance is maybe normal,
It's ultimately not a winning strategy in the long run for an organization. The transformation train keeps moving.
okay, so for a board leader listening, recognizing this scale, this business transformation, what are the first strategic steps? Where do you start guiding the organization?
Well, the material points to a few key things.
Right.
First off, a really honest, clear-eyed look at where the organization is now.
An assessment.
Exactly. Where are the specific old systems, the outdated processes, the ingrained cultural habits that are most likely to block progress in this AI world? You have to know your starting point, the friction points.
Makes sense. And once you have that assessment, what's next?
Then it's about building a clear roadmap for modernization,
Yeah.
a plan.
Not trying to boil the ocean all at once.
Right. Prioritize strategically. Look for some quick wins, maybe, things that show early value and build some momentum, but also define those bigger long-term transformation goals. It needs to be phased, coherent.
And it's not just about the tech or the processes, is it? There's a mindset piece, too.
Hugely important. Fostering what you might call a transformative mindset across the organization.
What does that look like?
It means actively encouraging continuous learning, adaptation, making it safe to experiment, to take calculated risks, empowering people at all levels to question the old ways and bring new ideas forward.
Okay, and how do you make sure all this effort is actually paying off?
Yeah.
That it's delivering results?
Measurement. You have to make it measurable. Define clear key performance indicators, your KPIs, track progress against them diligently, evaluate the impact of what you're doing.
What gets measured gets done.
That's the idea. This data-driven approach lets you adjust course if needed and shows the actual value being created. It builds the case for continued transformation.
And lastly, the sources mentioned that navigating all this complexity might mean looking outside for help.
Yeah, given how complex modernizing legacy stuff and integrating AI effectively can be, partnering with experienced transformation specialists can be really smart.
Bringing in expertise.
Exactly. Specialized knowledge, proven methods, maybe an objective view. It can help navigate the hurdles and just make the whole journey smoother and more effective.
So if we step back and summarize, the big message feels like the age of AI really demands fundamental strategic change. It's not just an upgrade. It's a chance to build fundamentally different businesses. More agile, more intelligent, more resilient.
That's absolutely the core imperative. It's a huge opportunity, really, to build organizations that are genuinely ready for the future. It won't be easy, there will be challenges, but the potential payoff for those who really embrace this transformation is enormous.
A powerful thought. So on that strategic note, maybe a final point for our listeners, for you as a leader to consider. Inside your own organization, what specific rigid structures, maybe outdated assumptions or long-held ways of thinking are most vulnerable right now in this age of AI? And what deliberate steps could you start taking, even small ones, to begin dismantling and rebuilding them, to foster that greater agility, that intelligence, that true transformative mindset throughout your company? That's your deep dive for today.